Good afternoon, everyone. We're glad you could join us. We're going to go ahead and get started. We did send out the agenda, and the first item on the agenda is in introduction, since this is our first official meeting of the group now that the school year has started, and we're really glad that you could join us, and we thank you for your volunteering to be part of this committee. So what we'd like to do, go around the room and just say your name and your title and where you work, and we'll start here in the room that we're in here at State Ed. Most of you know who I am, Mary Ann Valakonis. I work in the Office of Educational Design and Technology. My title is Associate in Educational Planning and Evaluation, which tells you nothing about what I do. John?
Jonathan Quintana. I work with the Candidate Design and Technology Office, and my title is Administrative Analyst.
It also tells you nothing about what you do. I know, we couldn't do it without. And so funny, for those of you who don't know, NICED is all civil service, so we actually don't have any titles that relate to educational technology and civil service. So we're just lucky to have Mary and John here with us. Shannon Logan, coordinator, official title is Coordinator of Technology Policies, but I manage the Office of Ed Tech here at SED.
Hughes, Superintendent at Central Valley.
Dale Brialt, Director of the Regional Information Center here in the Capital Region and North Country.
Okay, and then I'm going to unmute everyone. That would help both for you to introduce yourself. Oh, go ahead, Sarah.
Yes. Sarah Martivano, Manager of Educational Technology at the Lower Hudson Regional Information Center.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, we'll start at the top of the participant list. We'll start with Melissa.
Melissa Morris. I teach special education at West Millen School, and I also technology staff development.
Okay, great, thanks. And Michael?
Michael DiCaprio, Lead Coordinator for School Development at WSWHE BOCES.
Thanks, welcome. Nicole?
Hi everyone, I'm Nicole Laura. I'm the Library System Director at Room Tag of BOCES in Binghamton, New York.
Thanks, welcome. And then we have Sarah Collins. I think...
This is Sarah Collins, I'm here.
Okay, great.
Sarah Collins, the coordinator for the Archdiocese of the Catholic Schools.
Thank you, welcome. We have Sarah. Sarah?
Oh, yep. Sarah Farnan.
Well, I don't know what it's there. And then don't think Con is not involved, so I don't have a little headset. And Vicki?
Hi, I'm Vicki Jones. I work here at State Ed in the Office of Instructional Support.
Welcome. Who did I miss? Did I miss anyone?
Amy Perry-Duckrover.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, how are you?
Great. And tell everybody what you do.
Sure. Amy Perry-Duckrover. I'm the CEO, Executive Director for NICED, which is the New York State Association for Computers and Technologies in Education. Happy to be here.
Thanks. And then we have Andrea. Just tell us your title and where you work.
Andrea Tangador. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction and Technology in Highland Falls.
Great, thanks. And then we have, I believe we might have Con. Are you on the phone?
I am.
Okay, go ahead.
How education from active.
All right, I think we have everyone now, and as you can tell from the introductions, we have people here, and I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone, and just so you know, once you're muted, if you are not logged in, that you will not be able to unmute yourself. It doesn't work on the phone call. I'm going to go ahead and start.
Yeah, I could.
Okay.
All right, that would be good. Yeah.
John will also monitor the chat as well, just to make sure if you are not able to unmute yourself, let us know through the chat, and we'll make sure we get everybody to be able to speak. Gotta love technology and being able to connect remotely. Thank you all so much for being here. This is Shannon speaking, if you can't see me. We wanted to start this meeting by just recapping again the purpose of this group. Some of you were able to join us over the summer. Some of you may not have been able to for various reasons. I know that we got announcements and invitations out to everybody very late in the school year. Our apologies on that. As you may know, most of you know, things at SED work very slowly. So even though our intent was to get out invitations earlier in the year, that just was not able to happen. So we, again, as Marianne said, thank you so much for being here, for helping us with this endeavor. We are very appreciative of your time, the fact that you are volunteering to do this, that you support the work that we're doing, and that you are willing to be our thought partners moving forward. There is a lot going on right now with educational technology, and we need your help. And that, I think, is the main message we want to give you. Marianne mentioned this is a very diverse group. We are very proud of that fact. We received about 500 applications for this group, and we really wanted to make sure that the membership reflected as many different stakeholder groups as possible, that our members were able to speak and provide the opinions of everyone from parents to K-12 to higher ed, teachers, administrators, superintendent level, BOCES, Regional Information Center, Big Five, all of our groups. We have organizations like NICEGATE represented, NICET. We have, SCDN, model schools, all of a distance learning consortium, all of our big groups represented, and in EdTech, but also wanting to make sure that we get the, and of course our religious and independent schools as well. I did not mean to overlook that. We want to hear from all of you, and I think that that is the main thing that we want to let everybody know, that we really value your opinions. We want to hear from your perspective and from the perspective of the people that you represent. So we will be asking for your assistance throughout this 2 years, and we are really going to be looking for your help in representing your district, your organization, and helping us to think through these things. So please don't ever think that your opinion is not what we're looking for. We absolutely are, and we want to make sure that we are taking everybody's needs into consideration as we move forward with several initiatives as we go forward. Marianne, are you able to do the PowerPoint to the group? So if Marianne did send this PowerPoint out to everybody, and hopefully you have it. If not, I'll tell you how to get it in a quick minute. But we can start off with the agenda for the day. There we go. Hopefully everybody can see. I kind of jumped ahead there. Sorry about that. But I wanted to talk quickly about the purpose and membership. We are going to recap the work that we've done over the summer. We have Sarah here who will help us to discuss what the TechStamp subcommittee was able to accomplish, which is quite a bit. I will provide an update on some of the things going on here at NICED, and I would love to hear from you on some of the current initiatives going on. And then we wanted to open it up to our members for a round table. If there's any announcements from your organization, events coming up, information you'd like to share,
job openings,
any positions that, anything that you would like either input or just to tell the group we want to make sure that this is useful to you as well, and then we'll discuss next steps. So that is our plan for today. And Marianne, if you could click forward, I will get back to what we were discussing. So again, my apologies for skipping ahead, but we, again, are very grateful to all of you. We also understand that life happens, and there are 26 people on our committee, and I know that not everybody is represented or is able to join us today. We understand life happens. People get sick. We have kids get sick. You know, meetings happen, things like that. We totally understand. But if anyone is feeling like this may be a little bit more than you signed up for, if you are thinking that you are not able to help us to the degree that we may be asking for, we totally understand that, and we would not hold it against you if you decided, you know, I don't know that I can participate or provide feedback in these years. Please let us know. We would be sorry to see anybody go. We chose you specifically for a reason. We want your expertise, but if it's just too much and life is too much right now, let us know, and we would be happy to put you on the top of the list for the next round in a couple of years. So please let us know. We do have a number of people who are very interested in joining, and we want to make sure that everybody knows that, you know, we have plenty of support, but first and foremost, we would like it if everybody would participate. So that's really what we're asking for. So to that end, just wanted to let you know, speaking of a lot of interest in this group, we have been receiving many requests from the field to publish a list of people on this group, publish the names and organizations. We are going to do that, but we want to make sure that everyone on the group is comfortable, and so Marianne will be sending out an email to the group in the next few days with your name and your organization and title, and we just want to make sure to confirm with you that everything is correct, that you are represented correctly, and if you have any major concerns about your name being published, please let us know and we can talk with you offline about that. But we would like to be able to publish this the week of the 10th, so after the upcoming long weekend. If you could confirm with us by the 6th, that would be great.
And that's what we're publishing is names, titles, organizations, not phone numbers.
No, not contact information.
They'll find you. They'll find you.
We're just a Google search away.
That's right.
Absolutely. So yes, that is something that we will do. We will put it on our website, probably off the contact us page or something. I haven't quite worked that out yet, but we will do that. The second thing is we have finally gotten a collaboration platform that we think will work. One of our ETAC members has been able to help us secure a Moodle site. So if everybody wants to write or type this down, the URL is NYSEDTech, NYSEDTECH, NYSEDTech.winnyrick.org.
And I'll be sending out an email too because some of the people aren't attending,
yes,
and we want to make sure they get it right away.
Yes. I just didn't put it on the PowerPoint in case, even though it says don't share, we know that things, and even if anybody gets a hold of this address, they won't be able to get in. There's no guest login. There's no ability for anybody to get in except for people who are invited. This Moodle site will be for the office, so eventually you may see some groups that are not a part of ETAC. For instance, and this may be of interest to Nicole, I know you're on the line, and to some of our other colleagues on ETAC who work with libraries, we are planning a revision of our Slimpy rubric. So that group may have a group on this Moodle site as well. So everyone is loaded in and is enrolled in this main, it says ETAC whole group. And if you log into the site, nicedtech.winnyrick.org, your ID is the first letter of your first name plus your last name, all lowercase. And the password is ETAC 2017, and it'll force change. And then you will go in with participants' rights to the group. So the PowerPoint is in there, and some of the other things we'll reference are in there. And that's where we will post announcements. There's a calendar. We just needed a collaboration space, and as I believe all of you know, here at NICED, we are not allowed to use Google. So we had to find something that was not on the cloud and was able to be locked down completely. So that is where we are going with this. Hopefully this will serve our purposes, and we will be able to have a space to collaborate asynchronously. So that is the newest piece for ETAC. So are there any questions about the group or roles in the group or anything like that?
Please unmute yourself. And John, can you see you can't see the participants either, so.
Oh, I can.
Can you? Okay.
But nobody has any questions.
No questions. Okay.
Hi, this is Amy Spath. I just wanted to let you know that I am here. I just cannot seem to be connecting from the district that I'm in this afternoon.
Oh, goodness.
Oh.
Hi, Amy. Glad you could.
But you're on the phone, huh? That's good.
I'm on the phone, but I can't connect. I can't get the Cisco WebEx to work here in the district.
Oh.
I'm working on it, but I'm at least listening to you until I get it to work.
Okay. We have someone else wanted to ask a question or make a comment?
This was just Amy Perry saying welcome to Amy Spath.
Okay.
Several Amy's and several Sarahs.
3 Sarahs.
3 Sarahs, 2 Amy's.
That's a record.
All right, so let's move on to the recap of our summer work. So most of the large group met twice over the summer, once in June and once in July. We'll work to get the PowerPoint and all of the materials from that in the Moodle, so everybody has access to that. I think we may have even recorded those sessions, so we'll get those available in there in case anybody wants to see anything. Some of the things that we highlighted were some data that we have collected from the district instructional technology plans that was shared with the whole group. Hi, Rose.
Hello.
And so we'll make sure everybody has access to that. Those of you who are on the phone, so you know Rose Leroy, who's the Director of Information and Reporting Services and Educational Technology, has joined us here in the room.
Welcome, welcome.
So very excited that Rose could join us. And that, Rose, we're just recapping what we've done over the summer to the entire group. So over the summer, we had a few conversations, and then the majority of the work was focused on our immediate need, which was redesigning our district instructional technology plan survey. And that is something that we will update you in 1 second. But the other request that went out to the group at large, which is still open and available, and we would like as much participation as there is interest, is in the area of technology literacy. So if you are interested in helping us think through what kind of guidance or structure of, I'm still going to say guidance, I don't want to say the S word of standards, but anything to provide to the field related to technology literacy, please let Mary Ann know. We want to make sure everybody who wants to be a part of those conversations is part of that. We have not started that group yet because of, again, a few pieces that need to be confirmed here at NICED, but that is still available.
Right now I have 12 people that expressed interest in it. So if you told me before that you did express interest, you're on the list, but if you want to make sure, just contact me. You're on there.
Great. So let's talk about tech plans. And this was a major endeavor. The tech plan subcommittee met together, was it 4 times?
3 or 4 times.
Four
Times. 4 times over the summer, I know.
3 in August and once in July.
And once in July. So it's been a lot of work. We think we've got a really solid plan. And we think that what we've really kind of rethought the way that we are going to collect information, but also that we really think that this is something that's going to be helpful for districts more than an exercise in filling out a survey. So, Sarah, do you want to update the group?
So a big shift in the survey this year is in really focusing, sort of a laser-like focus on goals and objectives around instruction and focusing on making sure that helping people use the tech plan survey as a living, breathing document that actually makes sense for them back in their district as well. So there's a lot of information that is being collected around instructional technology goals, identifying vision goals and action items supporting those goals, professional development to support all of those goals, as well as some information about students with special needs and English language learners. There's some dialogue out there about possibly separating quantitative data from qualitative data, but that decision hasn't been made yet, so that's still in the works. One of the nice things we did with the guidance, and the guidance will be published in October sometime, the guidance is coming out actually a year before the due date of the plan. So the guidance will be out in October of 2017. So, and the plans are due October 2018. And the unique nature of that is that it actually helps districts have a full year to plan with their technology committees. So what you'll see in the guidance is similar to the way it has been in the past, is there's a guidance for the questions that need it, and it's a direct correlation. To answer this question in the survey, this is what it means. But supplemental to that, because one thing that the committee identified was that while the survey is a meaningful compliance document for tech planning, that really best practice is that a district would have a comprehensive technology plan aligned with their district strategic plan. And so what you'll see in the guidance where it's appropriate to have it is that this is this is what this question wants. And if you're doing comprehensive planning, consider this. So it has guidance for both approaches because everybody on the committee pretty much universally believes that strategic comprehensive technology planning is what's most helpful to stakeholders in a district. Although was that a question?
No, I don't think so.
Hey, Marianne, you might want to mute all, but go back up there for a second. Audio. And audio. Oh, where did you just mute?
Participants.
Oh, participants, yeah. See mute on entry. That way if anybody joins late, it automatically mutes.
I unmuted it earlier when we were talking.
So it's a big shift, but it's actually a simpler survey to fill out. And then there'll be the training for the certified RIC reviewers in October at the NERIC. And my hard drive crashed yesterday, so I have no idea what the date is, but 19. Yeah, so Maria Rocker and I are working on that. We're also going to provide a sample tech plan template that people can choose to use as a guideline if they want to or not. That's in the works, as well as the program for the training plan on the 19th. I think that's it.
And anything? I have a question. The sample tech plan template would be for a comprehensive technology.
Yes, for the comprehensive plan. So it's really just a sample if someone wants to use it in its entirety, in part, however, it's really just an optional tool because very often It's easier to do that than work with a blank slate.
Right.
So.
And there's a lot of regional decision-making that'll go into this, so the regions do things differently, and that's fine, but I think it'll be really useful.
Yeah, we're pulling examples for that from many places, so if anybody has a, what they think is a good sample, comprehensive text plan, really all we need is the outline, the table of contents. We don't really need the whole thing. Feel free to forward that to myself or to Maria Rocker, and we'll make sure to vet it against the things that we have, and we'll make that available to Shannon, and you can do what you want with it.
I'll make sure to share. That's one of the things that we want to do better, is to share out examples and best practices. You mentioned the beds.
Yeah.
This is part of the reason why we are in discussions about pulling out the quantitative data from the qualitative, is to be able to provide senior leadership on the Board of Regents with hard data on technology and the state of technology in New York. They are rightfully so, as are all of us, I would assume, very interested in a complete picture of the digital divide in New York. Where is the technology? Where is broadband access? Where do we need to concentrate efforts? All of us know, and we will continue to advocate for the fact that just because districts or schools have the stuff doesn't mean they are using it well, but the first step is getting them the stuff. So, and the step before that is knowing where the stuff is and where it is not. So that is the part of the reason why we are looking to do that at the school level. We will be having conversations about that coming up very soon. If anybody who was not a part of the tech plan committee would be interested in helping us craft questions that will allow us to get at that quantitative data, we would be really interested in having you join us in that, especially if you have a background in broadband infrastructure, device purchasing. If you have more of the tech side rather than the ed tech side, that would be helpful. And so everybody knows, we will also be inviting New York City in for those conversations. We have New York City represented on ETAC, Winnie Bronco. I don't know if Winnie's on the phone today.
She is, yes.
Oh, great. Winnie's on the phone. And then we have several other people who are in the city in various other capacities on ETAC. But we will want to include the DOE specifically for this data collection piece, because if you don't know, New York is a little bit different when it comes to data collection. So we are hoping to be able to engage with them, because in the past we have only had a picture of technology in New York City at the district level, and I'm not even talking the 32 community school districts. We're talking one plan from New York City, and with as large of a district as it is, we need to get better data. So that's why we'll be pulling them in as well. But that will be happening in the near future. If you would like to be involved in that, please email Mary Ann, and we'll get you an invite for those conversations. The other piece, Sarah, I'm sorry, I'm not remembering if you mentioned this or not, but one of the an additional change, major change, actually two,
I didn't actually.
Is that we are going to be requiring districts to give us a URL of their tech plan. And we are hoping that this will encourage them to put thought and care into what they are publishing on their website. We are considering the survey to be the requirement for commissioner's regulation, that if districts have an approved survey for those 3 years, they are in compliance. But we are also hoping through the guidance that will be provided by the Regional Information Center, certifiers, and through us, that they will then develop those survey questions into a more full comprehensive plan that they will be sharing with us. The other piece is, do you want to talk about the innovation?
The community of practice. So something that we get asked quite often, and I'm sure many of you do too in your roles, is what is everybody else doing? And so along that idea, we thought, well, how can we connect people who are doing great things and point, people to people that are doing great and innovative, proven practice. And so there's going to be a sort of a professional professional network of innovation where there will be a question, it's optional at the end, with some categories that we actually took off the K-12 blueprint as a model for people to select. I'm doing really amazing things in my K-5 schools around personalized learning, and I don't think of that when I think of Richard, who's sitting across from me. And then you would put your contact information in, and if I'm someone else and I'm looking for that, I know I have someone I can reach out to, and so we'll be collecting that. It is optional, but we have hopes that there'll be a nice body of information so people will have a place to go at NYSET off of maybe the website, or we're not sure where it's going to sit yet,
what we're going to do,
or how that's going to look, but we are going to collect it through the survey, and really excited about that. Between those two changes in the survey with the professional communities of practice and having a real focus on a usable document around instructional technology, that it's really going to shift the way people practice tech planning. And it will be more stakeholder-driven and inclusive and really useful at the district level. That's really the point, to make it not a big, heavy, laborious task, but a useful document for internally for their stakeholders as well as externally for reporting purposes to whoever needs it.
Sarah?
Yes?
Hi,
Amy?
this is Amy Del Corvo. Yeah. I'm just curious, as I listen to you talk about the planning committee and such, I'm wondering if it would be appropriate to run a session at NYSET, really where you can discuss what the plans are, what your thoughts are, as much as you can share, obviously, with the public at that point in time. It'll be the end of November. But people are always asking us, how do we learn about somebody else doing this? How do we get involved in other districts that have success stories, that have failure stories? And I think that would be a great time with the work that this committee is doing. You certainly don't have to do it. I just think it would be a great session with a lot of interest from the members.
Yeah, I think, so are you talking specifically about the communities of practice or the whole thing?
More so, well, Shannon and I are working on doing an overall state of New York State and all of that. But I'm thinking more along the communities of practice.
Yeah, so that we could definitely do that. We can talk about it. It'll be unlikely that we'll have many people have contributed to it by the time the conference goes. But we can certainly talk about it so that people will contribute to it. I think that's a really good idea.
That might help.
Yeah, more so in concept. I think that you would grab a large majority of people that are very interested in that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great way to get the word out and help emphasize that part of the plan rather than the compliance part.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Right. We can all follow up on that separately. Thank you.
That's great. And I just wanted to point out, as far as the current year goes, October 16th is the date that the portal will close for any districts that wanted to update their plan this year. It's not required, but if anyone's wanting to update, October 16th is shut down.
So that's an important piece of information because people are confused, and I love your question, like, what's anybody doing in the portal anyway? But I think people that don't know what the dates are, they're going in to check, and if they've already submitted their plan, it seems like eons ago, and they're wondering what that date is, and they've heard October, so they think it's now. So that was the only reason I said change the date. And the districts I worked with, I did tell them I suspected that's what it was, and I said don't go in there because we're working on a new plan, and they've got. It can be confusing if someone's looking in there.
Right. We wanted to make sure that's clear. And because you'll see that the new one says not published or unpublished.
Right.
Because it's not ready to go.
Yeah, that's a good point too, Marianne.
And then I just wanted to add, it's along the lines of confusion. Sincere apologies to our members of ETAC who may not know what we're talking about right now. We always, if you are not familiar with district instructional technology plans or anything that we discuss, please stop us and say, what are you guys talking about? Because we can sometimes just start going along a path and assume everybody is living the same
nightmare.
Not
same
nightmare.
life that we are.
But so just so everybody is on the same page, district instructional technology plans are on a 3-year cycle. The plans on this cycle started in 2015. So the plans covered the school years 2015-16, 16-17, and 17-18. So when Marianne said the portal will close, what that means is that any district who is interested in updating their district plan for this school year needs to do so by October 16th. Marianne's going to yell at me, I'm going to put an asterisk on that, especially to our colleagues at the RICS and the BOCES. If a district comes to you and says, oh my goodness, we have to update this because we have to get our Smart Schools plan into you, and NICE said close the port, just let us know, send us an email.
Right.
We'll make sure that everybody knows that we have to close it.
Right.
But we're not going to prevent anybody from getting their Smart Schools money. And
right.
One of the requirements for Smart Schools approval is that the district Smart Schools investment plans have to align with their district instructional technology plans. So if they need to update their instructional technology plan because they want to get their Smart Schools investment plan into us, we're not in the business of preventing that. We want
right.
to make sure everybody gets their money. So just send us an email. Marianne is very friendly. And
we just republished the survey and
yes, we can work.
Yeah.
There are workarounds. We had to choose a closing date, and this is what we chose. But we didn't want to overlap the cycle, and we
right.
are, as you can see on the PowerPoint, we are planning to open up the new cycle. So this would be the one that our ETAC subcommittee is helping us craft. We are looking to open the early part of 2018. That will give districts, at least 8 to 9 months to get it into the portal. The regional information centers will set regional deadlines on that, so that will be up to them. We can't dictate that. We don't want to dictate that. That is something, we have a strong partnership with our RICS who are certifying, so we want to make sure that it works for them. Every region is different. So we will ask our districts to please communicate with their RICS on what the certification deadline is. But for us here at NICET, we're looking for everything to be certified by the RICS and into us by fall. We're thinking, again, as Sarah said, October 2018. So that is our plan for tech plans. Very exciting stuff.
So just as a side note, I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from districts that the guidance is going to be ready and so much in advance of the plan being due. So people are really appreciative of it. I'm actually hearing, which is a shift, a lot of people getting these broader tech committees together and realizing the need for it. And I don't know what came first, Smart School Bond. I don't know if they just have so much stuff now that they just feel the need to do it and they can't manage to it. I don't know what it is, but I'm seeing a shift in that.
Probably a lot
in
of
our
factors,
region.
A lot of things happening
Yeah.
at once.
Yeah.
DBT and everything
yeah.
else.
Well, this whole request to post them, anybody who did Title IID a few years back, that was a regular requirement of that.
Right.
That's not something that should shock
right.
people.
Right.
Right.
So that'll hopefully be a good thing. Any comments, questions from our colleagues on the phone or on the online?
Answered Natalia's question.
I did? Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're checking the chat.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so let's move on to, there are just a few things going on here at NICET. Just going to kind of run down everything. We finally have our new website. Yay! We're very excited about that. A big thank you to John for all the work that he has done on our new website. We will be adding pages and pages and pages. It's a little bit bare bones right now, but we wanted to get it up and out. Hopefully it will be a lot more user-friendly to your stakeholders. We are always looking for feedback. If you, again, bear with us as we get everything up and out. There are a number of pieces that we still need to look at and get published, but hopefully this will be a real resource to people and much better than our old website.
And there's an easy way to provide feedback, because at the bottom of the educators, leaders, and families landing pages, there's a button. You just click on and you can provide feedback.
And then our school libraries section has been out for quite a few months, I think now, but there are some new pieces, including a page that is advertising how to become a school librarian in New York State. I don't know if everybody realizes, but we do have a shortage right now, and there are a lot of positions open. So if you know anybody who is interested, we have a page on how to become a school librarian in New York State. So that's another new piece, but a lot of things that we're looking forward to with this. So that's one thing we've been working on over the summer. CBT, as Marianne mentioned, this is still a major initiative and is going to continue to be moving forward. Some of you may be very familiar with computer-based testing. Some of you may not. I'm just going to very quickly recap. This past spring administration was the first year that districts had the opportunity and the choice to administer these 3 through 8 ELA and math tests on computer. This was purely voluntary, and districts could choose to administer in one school, and at the school level by grade, and at the grade level by subject. So for instance, in one district, they may have chosen to just do 6th grade ELA in one of their 2 middle schools. And in another district, they may have done every single grade 3 through 8, both math and ELA, and it's purely up to the district. So we had a really successful administration. There were some minor hiccups, but nothing that was system-wide. A lot of the issues that we worked through with the schools and with Questar, who is our vendor providing the test, I'll be honest, with this group, most of it had to do with Wi-Fi. They didn't have adequate Wi-Fi, so that was a big takeaway for us. But we are going to continue to support computer-based testing, and in fact, hopefully this will be a positive news to this group, those of us who are really pushing for more technology in schools. We are getting ready to publish a deadline. We have been messaging 2020. That had been messaged as our goal, but senior leadership is very interested in really helping to support districts transition in a serious manner to computer-based testing, and we realize that some districts may have been waiting to see if this was really the way that New York State was going, and so they may have been hesitant to jump on the CBT bandwagon, but we want to let all districts know that we are very serious. And so as soon as I am able to share a timeline, I will do so. This is still in final decisions with the commissioner and with our Office of State Assessment. So we are looking forward to making sure that everybody is aware of those deadlines as soon as we can. The best way for districts to start planning for this is to really engage in thoughtful technology planning and to make sure that they not only have the devices, but also the infrastructure in place to support the devices. And that's going to play a major role in how well we are able to support large initiatives like CBT. Luckily, from all of the data that we have, the state of broadband health in New York State is pretty darn good. So we are really fortunate compared to a lot of other states. But we know that there are areas we can focus on, and we will be working with our regional information centers, our Big Five, and our districts to make sure that everybody is up and running. We are also very working very closely with our State Office of Religious and Independent Schools for those schools who choose to participate in 3 through 8 testing. We are working with that office to see about options for our religious and independent schools, and we are working to make sure that we have resources out there for parents and for teachers so that they are aware of what transition to computer-based testing means, and making sure they understand about all of the safety and security that goes behind this, and all of the pieces that we are making sure are in place for a positive testing experience. On that note, we have a few new things for districts included in the technology readiness checklist. If districts are making the move this year, and again, it is still optional for them this year, there are a couple of pieces for them to consider when they are assessing their technology readiness. One of the new requirements for this year is that we are requiring a mouse or a touch screen or a touch pad for all devices. It seems a little like a no-brainer, but it was not required last year. There was only a requirement for access to an external keyboard. The system does support the ability to tab through to the buttons, but we felt that that detracted from the testing experience. So we are requiring a mouse if the device does not have a touch screen or a touch pad. I don't foresee that being a problem for any of the schools that are choosing to administer on computer-based testing. We're seeing it's really our schools that are at the forefront of technology integration that are doing this anyway. But as we move to more and more schools getting involved, and some of these schools may be ones that just have an ancient computer lab, we may need to support them in that. So that is a new change. But technology readiness is something that we are requiring schools to confirm every year. And so that will be out and is available. And the ordering system for computer-based testing will come out with the regular ordering system. So when principals order their tests, they will be able to identify if they are doing paper. The message that NICEAD is sending to everyone, and we want to make sure that this group knows that we are completely behind this, is that device purchases should not be made solely for computer-based testing. Just like access to technology or interaction with technology should not first and foremost be so students can take a test on computer. That is not at all what we want to support. We believe strongly that technology is a powerful tool for teaching and learning, and we want to encourage districts to integrate technology as much as possible in the regular instructional day. And that is something the commissioner has said over and over, and we will be sure to support. So that is what our message is, and hopefully you can help us to message that to everybody, that it's technology is a tool for teaching and learning first, and in order to support students in the 21st century, we are making this switch to computer-based testing to meet their needs as well. If you are interested in seeing what the computer-based testing system looks like, you can go to our website and click on teachers, leaders, or families, right, John? It's down there in the bottom left. There's additional links, and there's a link to our CBT page. And if you go that way and you click on, under 3 through 8 testing, our question sampler. The question sampler is a mock testing platform. You need to access it through Chrome. The system is built in a Chromium package, so to get the best experience, we would encourage everybody to go through Chrome. If you have seen this before, you'll see a couple of new things that we just released last week. You will see that there are 3 practice tests per grade per subject. There used to only be 1, so now there are 3 per grade per subject. In the math, you will see a few new changes, including the ability to see the math assessment in all 5 languages that the Office of State Assessment provides testing in, so you can see the Spanish testing environment, the Russian testing environment, et cetera. You will also see some changes to the platform. For instance, in math, the math reference sheet. In the past, it used to be locked in place. You couldn't do anything with it when it was selected. We've changed it, so now it is undocked and it can be resized as well. So there are a few new updates to the system. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to go over them, but I think that the field will be really pleased. We have spent a lot of time with our math teachers, particularly making changes to the testing environment. So that is the update to computer-based testing.
3 comments.
3 comments.
Yeah. So from Melissa, there's concern in my district about students that may do poorly due to CBT. That many students will do better with paper and pencil. Then Lee adds on to that. This is also a concern in our district. We've discussed the need to familiarize students with CBT throughout the school year so that they are not overwhelmed with it. Then Melissa adds back, also, with math, will the math platform be pushed out as an instructional tool for teachers to use with students before they see it for the first time on an exam?
That's a really good point. Let me address the last point. Will it be used as will it be available for use as an instructional tool? Currently, it is not. We have the question sampler available for students to get familiar with the system. We know that that is something that New York State is interested in. It is not currently a part of our contract with Questar, so I can't guarantee that that will be available. But if I find out anything, I will be sure to let everybody know. Believe me, we want to make sure that anybody who wants to use this can in whatever way makes sense to people. I can tell this group that if you are interested, the main math equation editor is built from an open source tool called WIRIS, W-I-R-I-S. So if you go, you can see a demo of the tool, and the WIRIS I know is used in a lot of LMS's learning management systems to assist in math as well. So that is a way that, maybe it can be used with students, but I definitely hear the need for students to have as much practice as possible. There is, rightly so, people are wanting to make sure that when they transition to computer-based testing, that students are not disadvantaged in any way. And if that is our main goal as well. We looked at the scores and wanted, and this, I think the scores reflect the fact that we wanted to make sure that no students were disadvantaged, that we wanted to provide a comparable testing experience on paper and pencil as much as possible. So that is a top concern with all of the leadership here at SED, and one of the reasons why we have been slowly progressing to a complete transition as opposed to just throwing everybody in. So one thing that we really encourage, and hopefully all of you who are in district are taking to heart, is we would really like to see people field test on computers. It's a low stakes environment. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And the message is close the lids of the computers and go back to your regular instructional day. But it is a really good opportunity to see this in action and to test it out in a low stakes environment. So that would be a strong message that we would hope everybody would take to heart.
Shannon, is it fair to say that part of the digital literacy skills initiative or the work of this committee, while won't help the initial cohorts of students, but that once that gets out and kindergartners start working with something like that for districts that aren't doing it already, would obviously reinforce this and make it easier for students to interact with any form of CBT?
In fact, one of the reasons why this is such a strong, we have such strong support from our senior leadership is that feedback after the initial testing of CBT showed that this is an interest, that they were seeing that some students didn't have some of the skills, particularly when it comes to keyboarding. And that was the immediate notice of some of our teachers in district and the feedback that we got from that. So we're actually going to talk about that, but to a more broad understanding of what does it mean to be technology literate. So we don't want to say we're doing tech literacy because of CBT.
Right. Yeah.
But because of CBT, a spotlight is now on the fact that we need students who are literate in technology. And I don't want to say literate in technology. You know, we need digital literacy. We need students who are able to perform with technology to be successful in the 21st century college career. So that is definitely something that's a concern.
The conversation in my region and others I've talked to about it, there's that concern about the scores. But there's also this conversation that if we wait for everything to be absolutely perfect and when kids are actually positively ready, it's not going to possibly hurt them on the computer-based test, we're never going to send them to computer-based testing. So it's almost like this helps drive, like other changes in assessment help drive the changes in the field slightly.
Yeah.
Or more than slightly, depending on what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Two more comments from Melissa. For her special education students, CBT is such a completely different animal. And for math, knowing it's called WIRIS is at least a start. Using math tools online, such unique skill of its own. Yes. And keyboarding is long overdue. Capital L-O.
So we will be needing your assistance specifically when we talk about keyboarding in a second, which I do want to get to. So let me go quickly.
Yeah.
And you guys have to stop me because I can talk forever. So if we keep going, I just want everybody to know something that's coming up. This is a lot more in the data realm than it is in the ed tech realm, but it relates to us. This is the first year that we are going to be collecting the method of course instruction in our BED survey. So this is the way that state ed collects information from schools. For those of you who are unfamiliar with that term, what is it?
Educational data system.
There you go. See, I don't even know what it stands for. But so we are collecting this on face-to-face, distance learning, blended learning, and online learning. So these are the definitions we're working off of, and we are looking forward to seeing what districts tell us and how prevalent online, blended, and distance learning is in our districts. And it may force some people who are maybe not aware of the regulation that online learning requires regular and substantive interaction with a New York State certified teacher in that subject area to re-examine some of their practices, because the teacher is the most important piece of this. So we want to see what's going on. So this is something we will be able to share out in a year. Rose is nodding.
This is for BED's 2018 collection, or right now?
You know there's going to be a lot of questions about what is defined blended learning. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory.
There it is.
That's
the definition we're using.
And is that?
So this is what was provided to the project managers for data. So this is what we are going off of. Distance learning in New York. Amy, you can chime right in here, but it was made very clear to me that the Distance Learning Consortium meetings and through this group that we need to make sure that distance learning is identified as primarily video conferencing, although we can use different, but it's the synchronous.
For the purpose
of this, it is
about the same
synchronous. It is a synchronous delivery of instruction. Does not exclude students turning in homework through an LMS or that sort of thing, but the primary instruction is synchronous. Blended learning, this is going to be our flipped classrooms. You know, this is going to be any kind of piece where students have some interaction online, some interaction face-to-face. It is probably, I agree with you, Sarah, and anybody who's thinking this, we're going to need to provide more explanation, examples, clarity.
And delineation, because I'm afraid the data is going to be skewed because everything's going to go in there.
Yes, yes.
You know, if I have a class page.
Yes, yes, agreed.
But
so
it keeps evolving.
It does keep evolving. We will learn from this year.
Yeah.
I would say, yes, ETAC, let's go with this. I know we wanted to talk about definitions.
Yep.
Let's get going on this. Bed day is next week, so I think we can
favorite day is
all right. So we will need to, so everybody put it on your radar. We need to look into this. The data will probably not be great, but at least it's a start. And it's something, so we can at least differentiate between traditional face-to-face and not.
So then people will be suspicious of the motive for collecting the data, right? That it's a gotcha for compliance with the online learning.
That was going to be my question, because some of this is not necessarily allowable under the current seat time regs, correct?
What part isn't allowable?
It's allowable.
Okay, all right.
As long as it's under the direction of, you have the better language.
Right, right.
Sure.
So
right.
It's always that if it is for credit, the superintendent has to ensure that the student is receiving seat time or the equivalent under the direction of a New York State certified teacher in that subject area, which we also will collect. So we will have the teacher of record, and we will have the course delivery method, and we will.
You're asking for the teacher of record in the BEDS data.
That's what. It's always been there.
Okay. Well, for the online learning.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Good for you.
It's a very, very important part, which is why we are getting some questions.
Yeah.
So,
great.
Well, Rose is going to field these at the project manager meeting tomorrow. We're gonna see what we get. It's not meant as a gotcha. It's what it's really meant to do is see what the demand is for online learning and who's doing it, and
that message is important.
Yes, that's the real purpose. So hopefully it won't be huge.
Yeah, I think it's just the conversation never ended once the regulation it never ended, right? So we never had
there were the summits.
Yes,
and
but when the regulation came out, there was a lot of opinion, and we never had closure on those opinions. So it's just going to all come back again. So, which is a good thing. So the dialogue will be open again.
Yes, absolutely.
I guess that's where I was going. There's probably still a lot going on out in the field that is stretching.
Yes, I would agree.
And in that case, we need to make sure that everybody knows what is allowable and what isn't.
Right.
So, so we can make sure that our students are receiving a quality education.
But as we recently learned, a lot of people stretch school calendar too. So, sometimes they're reeled back in.
That's right.
What?
All right. So let's keep going.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Sorry, that's another department.
Yeah, another meeting.
This one,
6A on the calendar
day.
So this one will be quick. The Board of Regents approved our ESSA plan to be sent to the federal government. ESSA is our Every Student Succeeds Act. This is our major federal legislation. This is what is going to govern education in New York State once it is approved, and we are right now waiting for feedback along with many other states. So the next steps for us is that the feds are going to provide us with feedback. We are required to respond in a fairly quick turnaround. then it goes back to them. We are not 100% sure on how quickly this is going to go. Our estimates right now is approval sometime early 2018, but that is not set in stone. So don't hold me to that, but that is what we are thinking based on the way it's gone with other states. However, we are New York, and there is
we're big.
There's no guarantees. So the piece that I know everybody in EdTech is looking for is the Title IV SSAE grant. No word on that. So we'll let everybody know as soon as we hear anything. I know that I've reported to this group that the current thinking right now with senior leadership is that the grant, if there is funding at the federal level, which we don't even know what that's going to look like, if there is funding and if we get funding and if it is decided that technology will be a part of the grant, it will be competitive, not allocational. But that is, nothing is decided there. I will let everybody know as soon as I know anything. And one other piece, and this may not affect everybody in ETAC, but those of you who work with technology educators, these are under CTE, Career and Technical Education, you may not have been aware of a recent decision by the Board of Regents that's also just passed on September 11th and does not go into effect until tomorrow. There used to be a requirement at the middle school level that students have 1 credit of technology education, and that is no longer a requirement. There is the requirement to have CTE instruction before the end of 8th grade is still there, but the Board of Regents chose to allow for greater flexibility due to the fact that we are losing family and consumer science teachers, and there is a shortage of technology education teachers. And so they wanted to make sure that there was flexibility here. So it is now opened up to any CTE subject of the six areas is allowable here. So that is, if you are interested, that's the regulation 100.4C1. There's now greater flexibility. So that is something that may affect technology education in districts.
I look at it as a huge positive because most places think of technology education as a classic shop class.
Mm-hmm.
So when this was talked about coming out, I don't know if we tend to ever go woo-hoo about a regulation, but this was a woo-hoo.
That's correct. And it was a woo-hoo to some and then not a woo-hoo to others.
True.
So,
well, the advocates for those specific subject areas, I think, were the ones not happy. But anyone who has ever tried to schedule a middle school, this was huge. This was huge.
To be able to put pathways to graduation earlier into the middle school to connect into our high school programs.
And to be able to be creative when you can't find one of these teachers because they're becoming fewer and farther between.
So it was under the radar for some groups, but huge deal for others. And then something that should have been on everybody's radar, we have approved ELA and mathematics standards. The Next Generation English and Language Arts, the New York State Next Generation English Language Arts and Mathematics Learning Standards. That is the official title that I have been beat over the head numerous times by our Office of Curriculum and Instruction, but these were adopted after extensive work with many people in the field. I know that there is still some groups that have some concerns. The commissioner has said these are living documents, as is our ESSA plan. We want to hear from everybody if there are major concerns. One thing for us is that keyboarding is back into the standard. So I was very excited to see that that was put back in. And I'm going to transition quickly now to that. This is a breakdown of what the standards say. So the keyboarding is not a specific standard in ELA. It is a part of the writing instructions for the kind of paragraph before the writing standards. And it is very broad. This is what it says, but it does start in our earliest grades, and it does specify that in grades 3 and 4, students should receive instruction in keyboarding with a focus on technique over speed, and that they should continue to improve throughout 11th and 12th grade. So this is important. It's an important skill for students to be able to communicate effectively in the 21st century. And when talking to the Office of Curriculum and Instruction, wanted to stress that keyboarding is not about the technology so much as it is building the automaticity of being able to move thoughts to computer without having to physically hunt and peck. We saw it with computer-based testing. Students were trying to write complete essays with 2 fingers, and that's not conducive to really effective communication. So this is what is officially in the adopted standards, and it is the expectation of the Board of Regents that keyboarding be taught in grades 3 and 4 and introduced as early as our youngest grade.
Pre-K, yeah.
And that should continue through high school. That being said, because these are very broad, we know people are going to have questions. They had questions when they were part of the Common Core Learning Standards, and with the move to computer-based testing and with these in the new standards, we know that guidance is necessary. One of the things that we have done recently, if you weren't aware, is we did release a survey where we're asking districts and schools and educators to identify programs that they may use to teach keyboarding. NYSA does not endorse any program. We don't mandate, we don't require, but we did want to get a sense of what people are using, and we do plan to publish that. So it will be here is a list of things you could use. People in New York State are using this. If you have any questions on computer programs, don't come to SED. Go to your district, go to your RIC, go to your BOCES, go to your whoever you talk to about technology, and they will help to provide support in this area. I am going to ask for all of your help in something, though, and this is a fairly quick turnaround, and my apologies for that. Sometimes that happens here at SED. We need to get guidance back on keyboarding. There is a draft keyboarding guidance. It's in the Moodle. It's under discussions. I put it in there under a discussion that says keyboarding instruction. Please do not share this draft document. It has draft written all over it. It is just for conversation only. This is not official. This is nothing that we are requiring. It is. Once again, please don't share it with anybody saying this is mandated by SED until we have official guidance.
Yeah,
but we do need, send it to everyone.
No fake news allowed.
Yeah.
Please. But we do need your help. If you could take a look at this, let us know what you think. Are we missing anything? Is something too strong? Is something not strong enough? Is there something we're forgetting? Is there something that you think that your constituents would want to see? Are we making sure we are including all of our stakeholder groups? Is it not, is the language, we need your feedback. So please help us. This is in earnest. Please help. You can either reply to the discussion so everybody can see. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, email me directly, email Mary Ann, which would guarantee it would be seen more quickly than if you email me, but please email me. Email anybody you want, but just if you could get it to us by Friday.
Of this week.
Of this week. We would really appreciate it because others are cracking the whip to get this He gets accepted. So that is an official request for help.
Michael asked, does the language match the language for the next generation standard?
So they're in the guidance document that is draft guidance. We have the chart that's in the in the next generation learning standards, and then the second page provides a suggested, not mandated, not required, but possible high-level. I'm not even going to call it a scope and sequence because it's not. It's just a high-level idea for what this could look like. But we want it to match the language and the learning standards. And we want to be helpful, but not make sure everybody knows that SED is not going to require.
Right.
Because we don't dictate curriculum. So that's the local decision.
Shannon, a couple comments. First of all, I do know that I personally believe that keyboarding is important. As I sit over here taking my notes with 2 fingers, I realize that.
I did notice.
Yeah. Sometimes I use a 3rd finger, but anyway, depends on the tone of the message I get. There is a sentiment out there, and I heard this from a DS just the other day. I had a JMP meeting, and so you could take a guess at which of the 7 DSs said this. But basically said, keyboarding, the kids are just fine using their 2 thumbs, and we've experienced that, and so on. There is a contingent out there that believes that. I think when your experience is only, this was in the context of a ETAC program. You're dealing with high school kids who have typically had access to at least smartphones and things like that, and they've learned to adapt. They're like me. They've learned to figure it out with a couple fingers. They don't see the elementary kids with, motor skills that really haven't developed yet. They don't see the special education students who may potentially be struggling with motor skill issues or cognitive issues. So, but I want the group to be aware that there is that contingent out there that says this isn't a big deal and we shouldn't be focusing on it.
Yes.
I have a wife who's an English teacher who this scares the death out of her because, again, we're in a poor, rural, impoverished area where there's no broadband in a lot of the homes. There's not a lot of technology in a lot of the homes. This is a real concern for a lot of teachers, especially ELA, social studies where there's a lot of writing and things like that. So we put the survey out far and wide. So that's one comment. Another comment that I did receive, and it's not necessarily directed at you, but I just think in general it's good that Rose is here to hear this. One of the other
directed to her.
One of the other chiefs at my GMP meeting said, just survey after survey from SED, because I mentioned it to them, hey, can you spread the survey out? They're starting to feel overwhelmed with all of the different surveys from all of the different departments. When you're in a district trying to get school open and trying to do all this stuff associated with just keeping the doors open and keeping the lid on the place, there is a bit of fatigue out there with a lot of the surveys that are coming from the department. So that I promised I would bring that comment back to this meeting, and so I've done my duty to God and country.
Some of the things that I remember from 1990 doing keyboarding, in case anyone hasn't been around to hear, some of the issues that are going to come up is that the younger children can't use a standard keyboard. So there will be requests to look for smaller keyboards. And at the time, there were some, 1 or 2. We actually never bought them, but there might be. So I haven't even looked at this. But that will rise because they don't have the stance to do proper keyboarding with the little hands on a standard keyboard. The other thing is the time, because a business teacher will tell you that in order to properly teach keyboarding, students need repetitive, continuous time with practice of their skills. And in a system that's already pressed for time, this is adding more time. So there's going to be a lot of negative around the time it's going to take to do it properly. The business teachers would tell you that if you don't do it properly, don't do it at all, because it doesn't actually have any stickiness. It doesn't, the kids can't, it doesn't do the automaticity that's being sought after. So I just raised that. Those were the issues that came up when we first did this, when ISTE standards came out. It will all, nothing's changed. Actually, time has probably become a bigger challenge because people don't have labs. They're flexibly scheduling their project-based work. And, you know, it was a little easier when third grade went to the lab every Tuesday and Thursday from 2 to 2:40. And they liked that. And, you know, we did say keyboarding all over the lab schedules. And now that doesn't exist, and we're almost imposing a skill-based requirement that reinforces that regularity again. So I think you're going to hear a lot about that. I'm sure you know that. But for anyone on the call that hasn't heard that, I expect that.
If they do expect it to be done, like I have teachers that say, well, when are we going to fit it in during the day?
Yeah.
Well, this is a separate skill, this is an embedded skill.
We need a computer teacher. That's what we're going to say too, right? That was the other thing that.
But if we're doing station rotations, or the kids can be in the classroom, this fits into that daily piece, along with if you're using iReady, whatever other blended learning going on.
I think that would be an interesting thing to brainstorm, is how are you dealing with the time issue? What are some classroom strategies for incorporating keyboarding into a personalized learning environment, which sounds like an oxymoron, right?
It sounds like a fabulous addition to guidance that we could provide.
Yeah, maybe it would be. I don't have any knowledge.
I mean,
clearly Richard does.
I would challenge.
I don't know as I go.
You know, I would challenge the time conundrum a little bit with teachers because, embedding into everyday activities. But, you know, listen, I'm a former music teacher, and, you know, I've seen a lot of great musicians develop out of 15 minutes of practice a day.
Yeah.
You know, it just, you know, you do it a little bit every single day, and before you know it, it's amazing what can happen. So.
And we anticipate pushback on the younger grades as well, but it's time.
Yeah, no, I don't, we could provide information about tiny little keyboards.
I can keyboard.
I
have great keyboarding skills, so I'm a huge supporter.
Yes,
as a Catherine.
Dale, you should give it a try.
Yeah, I should.
Be a test case.
See if an old dog can learn the tricks.
It's 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes a day.
15 minutes a day. All right.
All right, I'll put my money where my mouth is.
Keyboarding, I realize we are almost out of time, so I want to keep going. Just so everybody knows, another thing, we have an call out to the field, and this relates directly to what Sarah was talking about, how we really want to try to be better about helping to connect people with things that are working in New York State. We have a request out for articles that describe examples of innovative programs or anything related to, and in fact the topics of interest are exactly the topics that we have in our tech plan.
Oh, there you go.
If any of you would like to write an article or encourage somebody in your school or district or BOCES or organization or anybody who is an educator who wants to provide us with this information, please let us know. And we have plans to create a newsletter that we will put out on a listserv that we also need to create, and it will be published on our website. We got the invitation out to people a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, the guidance for the articles is stuck in council, so we haven't quite done anything with it yet, but we will. And we will get the guidance out to everyone as soon as that. We have to figure out waivers for pictures. So we will get that out to everybody, but if you are interested, if you know somebody who is interested, we are really looking to share out things that are happening.
Is this going to be an ongoing request?
It is.
Yep.
Ongoing request.
We're hoping to do it monthly.
We are.
And John is going to be working on that. He's going to be our point person.
Yes. We're very excited about that. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to that at the moment. And then we're going to skip technology literacy because we're not really at a time we can talk about that. Looking ahead, I think we can skip that today. If anything comes up, we will add it to the Moodle if it's before our next one. I know we're out of time, and if you have a hard stop, thank you so much for joining us. If you don't have a hard stop, if there's anybody who wants to share anything that's going on, I'm sorry I talked this whole time. I wanted to have everybody have a chance to share out, but does anybody have anything they wanted to share with the rest of the group?
Go ahead.
Okay, Lee suggests listing the various keyboard applications available for independent practice in Moodle.
Sure, yeah. We can do that.
And back to the CTE instruction, there was a question if the new regulation would still be 1 credit. Like,
the number of credits didn't change, so I believe it's the 1.5, right?
1.75.
1.75 for technology and facts. And now the credit number has not changed. It is just now open to all of the CTE areas. And if you are interested in seeing the changes, if you go to our main NICED website and you click Board of Regents in the upper left-hand corner, you can go to meetings. And then if you go to the P12 subcommittee, you can see the memo there, and it breaks down everything related to that.
All the finance stuff, business stuff, all included in all that, so it's really wide open.
Anything else, John?
Sounds it.
Dale, did you want?
Yeah, I had just one thing. I recently, not found out, it wasn't a surprise. David Versacchi, who works for NARIC in our Albany office here, is one of my deputy directors. He is a key leader in the Regional Information Center for me. He recently accepted a position with the Capital Region BOCES, so he's not going far. He will be named the technology director for Cap Region BOCES. It's actually a newly created position for the BOCES, very desperately needed for the BOCES. So I am in need of a new deputy director in my Albany office. The posting should be on the Cap Region BOCES website by this Friday. We are casting a very wide net. Both there will be a civil service path to this position, but also a certificated path to this position. Again, this is a key individual in my center who oversees all of our technical operation, both internally but also externally, the tech services that we provide out to our school districts. And I hesitate to even say it oversees all of the technical services because I'm hoping to find someone a lot like Dave who also has a very good understanding of how schools work and who is able to speak to school district individuals and speak their language, and sometimes highly technical, and those skills don't necessarily match. That's why it's a big loss for me because they've brought both of those to the table. But anyway, the senior level position at NARIC, opening up, being posted later this week. You'll have to deal with me. That's the downside. But it's a relatively decent paying position. We haven't posted an official salary range yet, but we're probably looking in the 110 to 125 range. So it's a decent paying job as well. So if any of you know of anybody who may be suited for a position like that and may be looking for something, please send them my way.
Anyone else have anything they wanted to share? Okay. All right.
No one else has? I know that she couldn't be here with us today, but Kirsten Green, I know, is one of our ETAC members. I believe she messaged the entire group, but I know she's having a conference on the 10th about SUNY Smart Schools and EdTech. So if anybody's in the New Paltz area, I'm sure she would love to have you. And
I think she filled all those openings. She had two openings for SAMR and another one for library, and she filled those.
Oh, great.
And NICEGate is a partner with them on that, and we have a good number of vendors that will be there, as well as a full session template as well. So in addition to what Kirsten sent out, I'd be happy to send out more information to the group.
That'd be great.
Right.
Thanks.
And I know that everybody on the call knows this, Amy, but if you don't know about NICEGate in November, sign up now.
Well, and for those of you that think you know most everything about that, please know I'll be making a significant announcement this week that not even our board is aware of yet. So please stay tuned. We've got some exciting news coming down the pike. But obviously, NICEGate's coming up the third week in November. Pardon me, Sarah?
That's a teaser.
Right, a little bit of one, yeah. Let's just say we're bringing together all the national kingpins for EdTech for a town hall meeting at NICEGate. Actually, we're looking possibly of Richard Collada from ISTE, of Keith Kruger from COSN, something we all know from our state ed department, talking about the current state of education technology, everything dealing with literacy to public policy to data privacy, and it's going to be an open Q&A as well. So we're really, really excited about that for Monday afternoon. Again, not yet confirmed across the board, but we're very, very close.
That's awesome.
Well, and just piggybacking on that too, Amy, at NICEGate, if anyone's interested in the Certified Educational Technology Leader certification out of COSN, which is for Chief Technology Officers and Directors of Technology, there's several sessions, and there's going to probably be an informal group forming around New York State people who hold that certification. We're looking to formalize that group and have them do something across the state beyond just serving their own regions and districts, and to see if there's some purpose beyond. Go ahead,
Sure.
Amy.
In addition to that, do you just want to talk about the CTO clinic as well that we're holding next Monday down in your neck of the woods?
Yep. So in partnership with NICEGate and COSN, they've historically run CTO clinics around the state, which is really just a venue for people in this role to talk about contemporary issues to their jobs. Privacy and security is one that we went to in Albany. When Smart School Bond was coming out, Kathleen Moorhead came to Long Island and spoke about all the sort of addressing some of the issues around Smart School Bond. We have Daryl Adams as a keynote. It's really, really exciting. We're going to have a panel of the CETLs who are going to talk about the value of CETL. Keith Kruger from COSN will be there talking about what COSN's doing for New York State, as well as some of the innovative things that COSN's doing in general in service to leadership in school districts. And then I always forget this person's name, Amy, but we're also doing a session on augmented and virtual reality, which tech directors like to talk about because it's got network implications, and it's a little bit of a struggle for districts. So we're very excited. We probably have around 75 to 80 people. We'd love more. It's open to the entire New York State, and you can register on the NICEGate website. If this is something, if you can get to Westchester County on October 2nd, we welcome you.
And if you're an institutional member of NICEGate or COSN, keep in mind that there's no charge to attend. So we would love to see you there.
Yeah.
Melissa has a question about NICEGate.
Sure.
She says her district probably won't let her go. She's wondering if you'll have any ideas how to convince them.
Oh, that's a good question.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Are we planning a meeting of this group at NICEGate?
We are.
Yes, we are. That would be a way to go.
There you go, Melissa. So tell your district that we have an ETAC meeting at NICEGate.
At NICEGate.
So we will have an ETAC meeting at NICEGate. Amy has graciously allowed us to organize that with them. So if you are there, it will, Amy, we're thinking Monday?
Yeah, Monday from 3 to 4:30 to stay consistent with our time frame. And it will be in the Hyatt Regency in the Regency Ballroom, which is on the 2nd floor. And for those of you that have been there in the past, it is completely renovated. And if you would like a room, I suggest getting one because they're just about sold out.
And I can, if you'd like me to help, I'm going to be there, and I can bring some portable VC equipment if you would like to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
That'd be great.
That would be fabulous. Thank you. We may just rope you into the conference committee just as a forewarning, but that would be great. Half the people around that room are in the committee, so it's a good group to belong to.
Tell Mike that Dale volunteered.
All right, anything else for the group? Announcements?
All right.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Reminders up there. What?
Oh, yes. Summary of requests. Please give us feedback on keyboarding. If you have any articles on innovative programs, if you would like to join the Technology Literacy Subcommittee, email Mary Ann, and Mary Ann will send out the membership list with your name and organization and title. Please let her know if that's okay to publish as is. And if anybody wants to drop off of the committee, please let us know.
And this PowerPoint will be in the Moodle?
It is in the Moodle right now.
Oh, it's in there now.
Yep,
Perfect.
it's in there now.
And I did send it out via email too.
I did see that.
Thank you, everybody.
No.
Really appreciate it. We'll talk again in October. Any thoughts, put it in the Moodle or email us directly.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.